Hi and welcome to Voices from Academy. I am Shameem Saidoo, your host, and with me, Yousouf Neetoo. For this very edition of Voices from Academy, we are pleased to welcome Nick Kyriakides, one of our business collaborators. Hi, Nick, and it is our pleasure for you to join us today on this podcast.
Hi, Shameem and Yousouf. Thank you for having me on the podcast today.
As we previously announced, each session will be covering topics in relation to adult education. For our podcast today, we will be having a look at media and video creation. Let us introduce to our listeners the main man behind NK Films, Nick Kyriakides. Nick, tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure, I'm Nick Kyriakides and I'm a freelancer and what's called a post-production artist and also the founder of NK Films.
On a broad perspective, how do you describe NK Films?
From a broad perspective, we are a post-production house, and what that means is we offer freelance and studio services to clients that may have a commercial they want edited or need an animated video to explain what their business does. That's where we come in to create this and bring their idea to life.
What are the services being offered by NK Films, and how about the most in demand amongst them?
So the services we offer are editing, visual effects, animation, grading and retouching. And this could be anything from editing a commercial for Hilton Hotels, grading a Formula One commercial, or even adding animated graphics to a social media campaign. Every day is pretty different as we work with a huge range of clients and genres, and each project offers something pretty unique to what they're looking to achieve. In terms of what is the most in-demand service we offer, it's surprisingly a combination of editing and motion graphics, I would say. A lot of studios and clients want companies that could take on the editing of their narrative and add visuals to their story or product. The reason is most clients want a one-stop shop, so having the convenience of a business that offers this end-to-end post-production service really helps us keep the quality consistent because we're able to carry their project from the moment we receive it to deliver in the final film.
That's great. So how has business been?
Business has actually been pretty great. There's of course times where you're overworked with 2 to 3 projects at once, and other times where it's quieter during the holidays. So I take that as a sign that I should probably take a holiday as well. In the rare moments that it's quieter, I tend to work on my portfolio. I learn new skills and new techniques, or I look at the future of NK Films to see what areas of the business do we need to focus on. When I started out in 2008, it was a struggle and I worked for free or minimum wage back then for a long time, and I was just happy to be part of a project and to be creative. Nowadays, I don't need to spend too much time on lead generation for new business, and that's really down to having this strategy I now have in place. It's about knowing where to find clients and how to connect with them. You first need to devise a plan of where to find new business, who to contact, and what to say to them. You secondly need to build a business relationship with them to form trust. As you know, we only buy from people that we trust. So without this, it's extremely difficult to go into business together. So the rapport I have with other freelancers that refer me for work and I refer them, and these business relationships I've formed with happy clients, turns into repeat business. That's the first part of the strategy in a nutshell. Then it's about upskilling, managing your client, and growing the quality of your product, which is you and your service. I go for this much more in depth in our online freelance course, which takes you through step by step exactly how to do this.
So Nick, you obviously touched on that you've worked with a number of high profile clients. What did you do and how do you market yourself? Do you have a online presence on social media? Do you have a showcase reel that clients can view? What's your marketing strategy?
Yeah, I've certainly been really fortunate to work my way up to some cool brands now that have a wide outreach and a certain level of influence. And the great thing about doing projects for these high profile clients is that the quality of work is always at its best, which means you're always pushing your skill set, which obviously helps you grow as an artist. Another benefit is that with the amount of content that we consume now, this means that there's around 50,000 to 1.5 million views per post looking at these campaigns that we worked on. You mentioned, do we have a showreel? And the answer is absolutely. I'd advise anyone working in video and especially in post-production that your reel means more than your CV, your cover letter, and your website. Your reel acts as a pre-qualifier to all of those things. It's essentially your first impression. And at a minimum, your showreel needs to demonstrate clearly your skills, your style, and the type of projects and genres that you're experienced in. Your reel is what producers look for when filtering out freelancers. In terms of my marketing strategy, I found that using 5 to 6 strategies to bring in business keeps the diary completely full throughout the year. So to give you an idea, my client base is made up directly of referrals, repeat business, having online job profiles where clients find me, applying to projects on job boards, and having a talent agent, otherwise known as a recruiter, pair clients with me. So it's a mix of B2B, B2C, and B2B2C. I realized early on I couldn't just stick with one type of strategy, such as networking events or just applying to jobs online. I had to form a connection and create a funnel in a sense to attract clients using multiple means. And this has worked out extremely well as it creates this cyclical system of getting work. I go into depth in the course that we're creating on exactly how I approach each of these avenues effectively and show you the strategies I use every day to streamline them and to be as automated as possible. And you asked if we have a social media channel, and yep, we have all of the usual suspects. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. You can follow us at NK Films, and I welcome you to join our NK Films freelance community group on Facebook, where I offer freelance and post-production support and advice. So join the family and you can ask me anything at all. I'm sure there'll be a link for it in the podcast here.
Nick, you have explained to us about media and video creation, but what makes NK Films different from other post-production companies?
There are some incredible post-production companies out there, and I like to think that we're a company that has a deep sense of care and pride in the service we offer. And equally, we care about understanding our client's message and their vision. So we want to tell their story in the best possible way. No matter the size of the project, we always try to align our intention with how can we best serve them? How can we best serve the client?
Every one of us did experience the COVID-19, be it on an individual or business basis. Was NK Films being able to adapt to the situation? What has been the strategy to stay on top?
Yeah, it's a really important topic to have a strategy in place, especially during these times. Speaking to a lot of freelancers and clients I know, it's been a really tough time for many of us, and especially for freelancers that are operating as a limited company, as there hasn't been as much support for those of us in that position. It's put many of us in a difficult place when the work feels like it's drying up. So the focus is to search for new work and pitch to new and existing clients so that you can create the momentum of having the work coming in. For me, the number one strategy to stay on top of all of this has been really to connect with previous clients and producers to genuinely see how they're doing and how they've been affected during the COVID-19 crisis. I think for those listening that are still affected by the lockdown, I would highly recommend to develop their own skills, continue to be creative, and reach out to build connections with other freelancers and clients. During the COVID-19 crisis, we've actually been pretty busy with projects. At the start, it was really quiet and a lot of production companies actually had to cancel their shoots, which in the beginning led to 3 jobs falling out. Although I was really lucky to have built those relationships previously with clients such as Adidas, Aussie Hair and Shopify that actually leveraged the situation with campaigns that supported people during these times. For example, I worked on an Adidas campaign recently called Home Team, which was a series of videos that involved athletes, celebrities, influencers to give training and tutorials and tips to viewers during the lockdown. So it was a really great way to connect with their customers, which meant they needed editing and motion graphic support to help with this campaign. At NK Films, we've also been pretty fully established as a remote post-production house in London and Barcelona. So we didn't have to change too much with our structure or processes with our clients. We just had more Zoom calls, more Google Hangouts, and carried on as normal.
Where does an individual start if looking for a career in post-production? Any recommended training?
Yeah, I could probably talk about this topic all day. There's certainly a lot of ways to start your career in post-production. So you could go the traditional route of education in college or university, or you could go hands-on and get experience in a post-production company, or you could even learn online with online tutorials, courses, and even YouTube videos. Although each of these education platforms have their place, there's also big drawbacks, I think, to each. If you went the traditional education route of university and say you'd done a BA in film and animation, you'd have an average of £13,000 a year in just tuition fees alone. So you'd be £39,000 in debt, spending 3 years learning your crafts, which in my experience tends to be taught by tutors that haven't even worked in the field. So there's a risk of learning out-of-date material and content that isn't relevant in this day and age. From what I've found, it's rare to find a university course that would teach someone how to edit and how to run the business side of things, to teach them how to pitch their work, how to get clients, and genuinely drum up business. Many educational institutions, not all of them of course, are sadly out of date and not keeping up with the current trends in the film industry. So speaking from my personal experience, I would have rather spent 3 years working in studios or learning the processes of how to run a business and all the workflows involved. I think YouTube can be a great platform to learn from as well. And although it's hit and miss, or depending on who you follow and which kind of videos you watch, the drawback from YouTube is it can suffer from a lack of structure if you're looking to have a set curriculum or guide to learn from. So you have to filter out a lot of the noise to get to the core information of what you're looking for. My recommendation would be to have a mentor that lives and breathes what you want to do. And what is it that makes them a success? This is exactly why I'm creating an online course. The motivation behind creating my course is to offer that guidance to freelancers that are struggling to get clients. Having been through all of the struggles myself of building a brand and getting work and learning how to run a business, whilst freelancing and actually doing the work has enabled me to really create a formula to be constantly booked with clients throughout the year. I think in any profession, you want to be able to replicate the results of someone who's already been there and already done that. So I recommend looking for a mentor or a coach or taking an online course from someone that you admire that has a successful career in post-production. Or look for someone in your life that already has that career and you can model their behavior. Reality is that traditional education has really been completely disrupted by e-learning, and we all know you could learn more in a well-taught online course in 3 months at a price that's accessible to young people, that you can take at a pace that fits your schedule and is all taught by an industry expert. For me, this is a complete game changer.
So Nick, you touched on a current pandemic of COVID-19, which has essentially gripped companies and individuals locally and also worldwide. What would be your top 3 tips for these individuals in post-production?
My top 3 tips for freelancers would be, first, to have a remote working setup. I really believe that with the way that the world is going and having a lot more lean teams and being environmentally conscious, because companies are encouraging us to work remotely, there's also benefits in our careers and in our personal life to spend more time with our families. And there's also work benefits. So if you have a brief, then you simply need to put in the hours to do the work without needing to physically be at the same desk or even country as the client. There's many tools around now that make this workflow possible. So you can work in the cloud and deliver your project. So this gives you the best of both worlds, that it delivers the work to the client without having an impact on the environment. You're having more work-life balance at home without using that time to travel, and you're able to work on your own time. So it would be to have some kind of work set up at home if possible. If not, there's some great co-working spaces out there as well. My second tip would be to always be creative and growing your brand. So always put out new work or ideas and think of ways to communicate to your audience and your clients. And this will show that you're always innovating, that you're the creator at heart. There's always evolving and learning new skills and keeping up with new trends. And my final tip would be the fact that the most important quality in any business is the ability to effectively find clients and stand out from the crowd and build those relationships with people. This is a huge topic because it's probably the biggest problem us freelancers face, which is how to find clients, how to demonstrate that they are a perfect fit for the project. And many of us haven't learned how to build rapport or maintain business relationships with their clients, which of course leads to having repeat business and having a constant flow of projects to choose from, and in turn having a thriving career.
NK Films, what has been the latest, and do tip us on new upcoming projects to look out for?
Well, we've currently been working quite a few projects. There was the Adidas campaign I mentioned, and we have a Pepsi social media campaign we worked on, which you'll find on our website, nkfilms.co.uk, in the near future. Well, currently our most exciting new venture is the launch of NK Courses, which is our online course platform where we create tools and training for freelancers to enhance their creativity and talk about the business side of freelancing. The course we're creating is called Freelance Mastery: How to Discover, Influence and Win Clients. It's where I go through how to price yourself as a freelancer. I go into the psychology of why clients hire you. I give my secrets to writing compelling emails, cover letters, bios, everything that will ensure that you stand out from the crowd. I'm also giving away free templates you can use to help your freelance workflow and digital downloads to enhance your creativity. And we also have a freelance community on Facebook where you can join if you're a video freelancer. We discuss challenges in the industry, we share our work, and we offer insights and tips to support one another. The goal from this venture really is to create better freelancers. Freelancers that are not only excellent at their craft, but excellent at running their business and brand.
You touched on this great new project of a freelancer course going live, which we're also looking forward to, and looking forward to the feedback on that for all the listeners out there. When's the course going live?
Yeah, I'm really excited to get back into teaching and helping out the creative community with this course, especially after coming out of a crisis. I feel like most artists get into freelancing because they're passionate about their craft and they're not guided on the business aspect of how to actually get the work that allows them to be an artist. We're aiming to release this as mini courses into 3 sections. This would be Discover Clients, Influence Clients, and Win Clients, with the launch being by September this year for the first course. For any Academy members and those listening, you can actually sign up to be notified the moment the course is launched. And as a thank you, you'll receive an early bird discount. There's also a ton of tools you'll receive in the course, like the quote generator, which automatically prices yourself and your projects. There's the brief generator to automate your briefing process with clients. We have client trackers to see where your clients are coming from and what areas need more attention in your business, and so much more. You can sign up today on courses.nkfilms.co.uk, and I'll be happy to share a link in the podcast below.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Voices from Academy. Thank you for listening. It has been our pleasure to have you in today, Nick.
Thanks, Shameem and Yousouf. Appreciate it.
Please join us again on our next webcast for more exciting training and career development topics. Make sure you visit us at academy.com and sign into our mailing list. Thank you from your hosts, Shameem and Yousouf. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.